think when it comes to Power Rangers nowadays is we really didn't have anything from Beast Morphers, Dino Fury, Cosmic Fury, and Watching Always, but I can pretty much ignore all of this. But I want to talk about good PR seasons back when Saban and Disney, well, when they really cared about the show. We're talking about story arcs and the good acting that the shows had to offer. Like Town Force, for example. Like soap opera, daytime drama with action, good acting, and good writing. If they really wanted to go below the belt, they would have mentioned the word kill and death in the show. Because Power Rangers Time Force would have been a real show, even though it's a kid show, because I don't think kids really care about not being, over the top with their points and stuff like that, you know. But if we're going to be talking about some good story arcs, you gotta start with the original Saban era and the early Disney days, in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into this right now. Even in the best Power Rangers seasons, there are always at least a handful of low quality filler episodes, what allows these seasons to shine in spite of the lesser outings or their powerful story arcs, whether it's character arc, a season long narrative, or a select set of episodes. The series is at its best when it's attempting long form storytelling. Nearly every season from Power Rangers Turbo onward features at least one stellar storyline, including the weaker ones, as they rise in quality upon becoming more ambitious. That's partially why the best Power Rangers story arcs are sometimes stronger than the seasons they're from. At their most engaging, these storylines are dramatic, well acted, action packed, and emotional while still staying true to the heart of the series. Now, I want to talk about Cole's storyline for a moment because this is one of those darkest moments in Power Rangers history. Because back then, when we watched the show, we didn't really know what was going on with Cole and his backstory because of how good the writing was, in my opinion. When Cole's parents were killed by Master Orr because he was jealous of his mother and his father, all because he wanted to have his cake and eating too, because he wants some of that Wu-Tang, basically, but he couldn't really have his chance. So he decided to just eat one of them seeds that could allow him to turn into a tree and just strangle both his parents, including killing the mother of his child. And Cole was rumored to be dead as well. But thankfully, he survived by living in the jungle. And the fight between Master Orc and Cole was really, 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 really interesting because the acting in the ending of the episode when Master Orc turned back to normal. So when Master Orc turned back to normal, you kind of knew that he was about to be done for. And Cole Young just turned him off completely. But the way it was done and Ricky Medina's performances at that scene should have been an Oscar worthy in my opinion because he should have been nominated for that performance alone. Power Rangers Wild Force begins with Cole Evans leaving the forest he was raised. No. Power Rangers Wild Force begins with Cole Evans leaving the forest he was raised in to search for his long lost birth parents. This quest leads him to Turtle Cove, where he becomes the Red Wild Force Ranger and serves as the overarching, huh? Power Rangers Wild Force begins with Cole Evans leaving the forest he was raised in to search for his long lost birth parents. This quest leads him to Turtle Cove, where he becomes the Red Wild Force Ranger and serves as the overarching storyline
for the first half of the season. After all the build-up, Cole's discovery of his parents' ultimate fate is devastating. And like I said, I think there was another episode where he forgets who he was because him and Alyssa were fighting this monster that can make people forget who they are. And so Cole ends up staying with the family in a farm, taking care of animals, because Cole is known for talking to animals, that knows and understands what they're thinking. So everybody from the Wild Force side was trying to get him back. But at the end of the episode, when he broke down, Taylor had to remind him that he was meant to die as well. That right there is one of those good episodes as well. I highly recommend y'all to go check it out. It's really emotional for Cole because now he knows the truth. This storyline was only approved because the writers claimed Cole's parents would be revealed to have only transformed into Gendrax and Toxica. What? So his parents would have became Gendrax and Toxica all this time. Yo, imagine that would have been on the show. That would have taken the fans by the loop because if it was stuff like this in Wild Force, it would have been very well acted. The storylines would have been really great storytelling, very well written. It would have been some drama behind it. Oh man, Cole Young would have been going through a lot. Because imagine during the final episodes of Power Rangers Wild Force that the truth would have been revealed before the finale when Master Orr destroyed the Wild Force, destroyed the Zors and destroying their home planet. That would have been crazy if that would have happened. Cole Young's parents revealing to be King Gendrax and Toxica. That would have been insane. Cole falling to his knees at his parents' grave is one of the series' most depressing moments, and it isn't even the emotional climax of the arc. Trying into the subplot revealing around Master Orr's true identity, the season's main villain is revealed to have once been human and to have murdered the Evans out of jealousy, which I said before. This creates one of the most personal conflicts in Power Rangers history and leads directly into the thrilling one-on-one fight between Cole and his parents' killer. And that moment alone, like I said, it could have been an Oscar moment. It could have been an Oscar-worthy show if they wouldn't be throwing these random filler episodes. And I get that Power Rangers is a kid's show, but this doesn't feel like a kid's show in my honest opinion. This felt like it was a show made specifically for teenagers and adults that watch. Like, to be honest with you, I think between Shelby and Kendall, Shelby was the one that actually stood up to her in the first season of Dino Charge when the show was really good. But to be honest with you, Kendall, Miss Morgan, I felt like she was one of the worst characters in my opinion because of how she acted towards Shelby in the first few episodes, being jealous that she was not a ranger when she finally got her chance in the finale. And in basically a couple of episodes in season 2 when she was in action as a ranger, fighting alongside the Rangers. But to me, Camille Hyde definitely brought her A game when she finally stood up to her. They say, look, I wanted to be a Power Ranger because the Dino Gym chose me. And all you have is just bitterness and jealousy. So when Kendall finally got her head out of her behind, she finally realized that Shelby is legit. So it was the 7th episode of Dino Charge that really made me a fan of this character, because Shelby is not afraid of standing up of what she believes in, and she was also the first Ranger to even discover Hecko as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, in my opinion, in the first half of season 2. So, yeah, shout outs to Camille Hyde and I forgot the lady's name, but my apologies. But shout outs to both of them because they both did a good job in terms of the acting and the writing goes. Part of what made Power Rangers Dino Charge so beloved following the diverse of Samurai and Megaforce was its rich characters and their dynamics with one another. Easily the standout character in the series' early episodes is the Pink Ranger. She is outgoing, intelligent, funny, and under the harsh judgment of Kendo, an underdog. Despite the nature of the rivalry, Shelby and Kendo's actress Camille Hyde and Claire Blackwilder are the same age. Wait, I've always thought that they were like apart from each other though, because you know every year they cast like young actors and actresses when they look older in the show, but in real life they're actually younger. This is weird. I didn't know this. Kendo is definitely unlikable at the beginning of Dino Charge, looking down on Shelby after she's chosen by the Peak Inner Gym just because she's a waitress. This pushes Shelby to prove herself time after time and pushes fans to root for her. This arc doesn't overstay its welcome as in episode 7, Let Sleeping Zords Lie, Shelby gives Kendo no choice but to acknowledge her genius as she saves the day. Kendo openly and directly apologizes to Shelby, and the sweet friendship the two share for the rest of the season is made more powerful by the knowledge of what it took to get there. And honestly, like I said, Camille Hyde definitely showed up and showed out as a Pink Ranger. Not because she's the first black Pink Ranger, but the way the actress brought her end game, and it felt right. Just watching this episode alone, looking back, this could have went on longer. So when she finally had to prove to Kendo time and time again that she had what it takes to be a Ranger, and Keeper had to just remind Kendo that look, even if you want to be a Ranger someday, you cannot just keep being jealous of Shelby because the Dino Gym ended up choosing her instead of you. I mean, when you were fighting alongside Keeper in the finale, the Dino Gym pretty much chose you because of your heroic needs. So, yeah, this episode slaps. Okay, so we gotta go to Jungle Fury for a moment because Jarrod is one of those characters that really made this series feel important because his jealousy when Casey was a Ranger because he was kicked out of the academy because he was acting a fool to carry on. But Daishi is one of my favorite characters in Power Rangers because Jarrod had a traumatic childhood growing up being bullied, and once he learned how to fight, he became the person that he is. But for some odd reason, the way the show was written, it felt like I was watching a different show. And that's one of the reasons why Power Rangers Jungle Fury is one of those hidden gems that has some good writing and some good story arcs, in my opinion. Power Rangers Jungle Fury is the only season of the franchise to put as much focus on its villain as it does its heroes. More than just a gimmick, Jarrod's fight against his inner demons and Daishi's corruption of his soul is captivating from the start to finish, while Casey's journey from rookie to master is also brilliantly executed, is a less unique treat than a second long arc centered around the main antagonist. I don't know why I couldn't say that word because maybe I just stutter a lot, but let's just say that it was really good executed the right way, because both characters, they were in the same school together. Jarrod became Daishi and Casey became a Red Ranger slash a Master Red Ranger when he finally earned the stripes. So this story arc with these two really made the show more interesting because of the acting and the writing at the time. Because Casey will stop at nothing to try to save Jarrod, and it's because Daishi was so powerful, it would not leave him alone. And it really goes to show you that Jungle Fury had some of the best storylines in history, and it really shows. Throughout the season, Jerry is dragged further into darkness by the generals he surrounds himself with, to the point he sometimes insists that he's the only Dashi and no one else. Yet at the same time, RJ and Dominic are able to offer insight into what Jerry used to be like. And Casey, a victim of Jerry's cruelty, refuses to give up on the idea he can be saved. Jerry's humanity shines through most of his increasingly compassionate relationship with Camille, and him bringing her with him to the side of good following one last epic fight with Casey, making his redemption at the end of the season significantly more satisfying. And I agree, because I was just saying this before. Because Power Rangers Jungle Fury had its most underrated gems ever because of Jerry and Casey. Because I think in Gaggy Ranger, it's more similar to the Red Ranger and Daishi and that version of the show. It was dark, brutal, but I feel like Power Rangers did it better in my opinion because it felt dark. A lot of people call it a Mighty Morphin season, but it's a mix of both, but not really. It depends on how you describe it, in my opinion. But Casey and Daishi have similar upbringings to the show. Is really saying something, to be honest with you. Longest video I've ever done. Yes, my screen recordings keep going off. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's my phone, but I don't care. We got through it. I edit out some of the stutterings and some of the stuff that was unwanted, but we got through it. At the end of the day, Power Rangers may have as good story arcs and good moments, but regardless, not every season were meant to be good. But if it's done terrible, then yes, you have every right to criticize it. But if it's good, I don't think you have to worry about its issues. But for the most part, I literally feel like, to me, that between the post Zunon era and the early Disney seasons like Ninja Storm, Down on Third, and SPD, but yes, the bad ones like Mystic Force and Operation Overdrive, Samurai, Mega Force, Ninja Steel, Dino Charge Season 2, Beast Morpher Season 2, and etc. Those may have some good moments, but I feel like if you do the show right, I think the comics might have done it better, in my opinion. So that's why we're getting Samurai and Power Rangers Prime, because Lauren is going to get a good story arc out of it. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below.